The real Kerala story. 5 years after it was submitted, the report, Hema Committee Report on the issues faced by women in the Malayalam film industry has finally come out. The 255-page report has revealed horrid tales of sexual exploitation, illegal bans, discrimination, drug and alcohol abuse, wage disparity, and in some cases, inhuman working conditions. The report, only on the Malayalam film industry, talks about how the industry is under the clutches of certain male producers, directors, and actors referred to as mafia by well-known actor, as they can ban anyone from the industry. In India, Me Too movement hit the headlines in 2018. During that time, many actresses from film industry had come out to talk about the treatment of females in the industry. The Hema Committee had submitted its finding to the Kerala Chief Minister on December 31st, 2019, after testimonies from 51 industry professionals. But it is only now, after RTI applications, that the report was allowed to be released. Today, we will take up this whole issue in two parts. One, on the official stamp this report has put on the existence of casting couch, demand for sexual favors that women are often asked to give within the Malayalam film industry. And second, this cannot be only in one film industry. What about Tamil, Telugu, and biggest of all, Hindi film industry? How about a committee to look into all that? And finally, how does one get to stop this exploitation, as most victims are scared to report anything for the fear of losing work, their vocation? Now, joining me to discuss from Mumbai is Fawzia Fatima, cinematographer, founder of IWCC. She was also part of the Hema Committee. Ayyappa Prasad, independent filmmaker, and Geeta Datta in studio with me. Geeta, let me begin with you. After going through the Hema Committee report, what was the first thought which crossed your mind?
Finally, it's official. You know, all of us who've been reporting for a very long time, we've all heard of stories. We've heard of the fact that there were sexual favors asked. There were women who were not treated at par with male in terms of, I mean, that was the least. But there were this whole sexual casting couch that existed was there. But now at least it's official. I think it's the first report, such report of its kind. And even though it's of one of the small film industry, of the Malayalam film industry, but like you said, it cannot be just of one industry. It is applicable in all film industries. So for me, this is the first step. That good this report has come out, even though it's taken 5 years to get the report released, and it has been done only after taking legal recourse. And second, that it is made it official and it's put it out there. And it's also talked about how few powerful producers who are well-known producers, big names, actors, directors, which is they are the ones who control the the way things operate. And that's true again for all industries.
Mr. Prasad, what about the accountability? It's just collection of narratives. It's about recollecting what's going wrong.
Yeah, there is definitely an accountability, because this is a committee that has been, the Justice Hema Committee has been formed by the government, and it has been given to the government. So there is an accountability for the elected government to do something, to corrective measures to set it right, so that the industry doesn't become as bad as the place that is made out to be in the committee. So there is definitely an accountability. So the elected government has to, since they instituted the committee, and that too at the behest of so many leading women actresses, so many leading women actresses from Malayalam industry who have been working in Chennai and in Kerala, Kochi and all that. They had taken up this issue and formed a separate called WCC, and after that only this pressure mounted that the government instituted this Justice Hema Committee. So there is definitely, the government has to take action on that and bring in a safety mechanism, and not only that, I think they have to go further and appoint another probe commission, because there is serious allegations being made about the mafia operating there. And that mafia angle has been there, which has not been told publicly or by the media, but that mafia angle has to be definitely probed by some security agencies. Because as far as I hear,
So Ayyappa Prasad,
is,
you're talking about the mafia element. I'm again, I'm joined by Fawzia Fatima. The first question was to her. Madam, my question was, it is an account, but the account does not hold trespassers accountable. How can that accountability happen?
It's a serious question because one can wash one's hands off saying, not taking responsibility at all. It is a situation where one can actually do some serious soul searching and do an inventory and of how the whole system is working, because it is a way of keeping out people and restricting it to a few players. That definitely people will not let go of the power that they hold. So it's just, it has to be, it's a big brainstorming that has to happen, and how to streamline the way this industry works. And it is a bigger question of how power operates. It cannot be simply answered
But
like,
madam, okay, it's fair enough. But there's another thing, the Hema Committee report has come out yesterday.
yeah.
I haven't seen that social media attraction by powerful women faces of Malayalam film industry. I haven't seen them retweeting this report. I haven't seen them making an issue out of it. I mean to say, when we talk about power, power can operate independently of gender, because power works on the issue of stakeholders. So I find that absent and
Yeah.
also very intriguing. Can you just cast some light on this?
It is like you choose to ignore it, that it doesn't exist only. That has been like ostrich syndrome, that people choose to ignore the existence of disparity, existence of violence, existence of so many, negatives, just by ignoring its existence. That's the same kind of attitude that's happening. So it should be taken up on a larger scale in all over in other industries, and it's a serious disruption of
Okay.
stakeholders.
Okay. Fair
It will
enough.
disturb that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm also joined by Yogita Bayana. Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for joining me on the News9 Plus Show. My question to Madam Fawzia Fatima was, yes, I'm very happy this report is out, but it disappoints me in two ways. The first way it disappoints me is that it's a narrative of a lot of women who underwent this torturous route, but it does not create accountability. The men have gone unpunished. Secondly, I don't find very famous women actors
Across all industry.
across the
I
industry.
can't hear your second question.
I have not seen famous Malayalam actors or actresses, powerful women faces, tweeting about this, making an issue out of it.
Unfortunately, the industry we are talking about is definitely male dominating. Not only this industry, there are many industries, but at the same time, this is very relevant because it is a show business, and women are definitely, their role is also very limited to as somebody who's like item numbers, or maybe very docile roles, not as hero. You know what I mean? So the overall perception of the industry itself, how they perceive a woman, is very narrow. Secondly, when it comes to being partial about anything, it's about pay, or it's about the kind of role, or the harassment, or the projection, or what we are just right now discussing. It's very taken for granted there, and that's the reason you said other actresses are not raising their voice. Similarly, like we ask our parliamentarians to raise their voices when any atrocity happens to the women of the country. They are also mom. So I think it is because they will lose their business, whatever little they are getting being women there. If they raise their voice, they'll also be sidelined. So this is an unfortunate fact. The whole industry is about glamour and money, everything, and and no voice for women. So unfortunate, but yes, this is the fact, and we have to live with it. But at the same time, we as citizens or as viewers should boycott such people, films or shoots or whatever it is. We need to take stand.
Fawzia, I need to ask you one question, if I can jump in here. You're working in the Hindi film industry. Tell us, what are the conditions of women there? Because there is now a large workforce that is a women workforce. You are a cinematographer yourself. You know, in the committee report, which you've also been a part of, they've talked about not only just the sexual harassment and the casting couch and being mistreated, but they've also talked about the conditions. What are the working conditions like in the film industry currently?
Compared to a decade ago, it is definitely better because number of women who are on the set in different departments has increased manifold. Earlier, it would be just the women who are on screen. Otherwise, there are no technical and behind the camera people. Women will you just won't find them. Now the workforce is from production design to a lot of assistant directors and cinematographers. There's so many women on the team that there is a market shift from being an isolated person to having many more women on the set. So that has brought about a kind of a better treatment, that gender doesn't become a specific issue. But the bigger question is, you have to first get into the set. So the number of opportunities, the issue is about that. Once you're on a set, the treatment, yes, if you're a HOD, you have a power and there is a responsibility, then you're definitely treated better. And people down the line are treated little, yeah, it is a definite hierarchy is there. And the people in periphery are treated badly.
And what is the impact of this Hema report on the film industry? They've seen what has happened. They've seen what has been written about the Malayalam film industry. What has been the sort of the reaction to this Hema committee report?
I should first clear that I have been working more in the South and of late coming into Bollywood. In South, especially in Kerala, in Malayalam industry, it's a completely non-existent. Women technicians are just not welcome and non-existent. And Hema Committee report, people who have spoken out have been marginalized and have been a founding member of WCC. And we have seen members who have voiced their opinions being sidelined and, loss of opportunities. It's a reality that has happened. So there's been a lot of obstacles to the coming out of this Hema Committee report because it will expose many people who are in power. So now that the report has come, it doesn't reveal names and it is only the issues that are being discussed. It is a matter of soul searching. And first, it has to be openly acknowledged, that these things are fact of the matter and it exists and they are oppressive. So it is very difficult for a person in power to accept that they are wrong and they have been bad. It's a very grave human very demanding task to raise to that self-searching and accepting that one is wrong. I think that is valid for most of the people of the country, not just in industry. It's very difficult to accept one's mistakes or errors that have happened and to go over, to change over. They're asking, it's a tall order. And if it happens, it's fantastic. And it is for us to keep raising the voice. And however uncomfortable, how much ever marginalized people become because they are vociferous, it still means more and more have to talk so that it comes to a, critical mass that it will make an impact. I'm very hopeful that the more such deliberations happen, more rhetoric, it comes into a rhetorical space and we talk about it more and more, and there's some opening of conscience that one really investigates. How have we been behaving? Why have we been behaving like this? Of course, it is to do with power and money, and nobody wants to be displaced from that position of, wealth creation and celebritydom and whatnot. Who wants to get shifted out of it? And if it means one has to trample over and walk over women and, their talent, or women themselves have to be submissive, that's like literally shaking the status quo. It's just not a simple question with simple answer. It's a major question, and it's a it affects the whole, the entire country actually, or the nation, because women are half the population, but they would believe that they don't exist only, or such peripheral or marginalized. That is an issue.
No, that's what. So I need to ask you and Yogita the same thing. Then what happens then to the internal committee? The internal complaints committee that's been with both the industry was made. People as per the new law, you have to have that committee. Why is it only in the name then? Yogita, can
So
I ask
there is
you?
no
Yeah.
compliance of POSH at all. If you talk about prevention of sexual harassment at workplace, which came into existence in 2013, if you still go and check the plight of women, forget about the industry, which is where the, privileged, not privileged, I would say rather more educated women are there. But what happens to the real, underprivileged women at ground level when she goes for work?
Okay.
She is, prone to exploitation. And this implementation, there is no audit system of POSH. Nobody, like I do
Okay.
POSH trainings. I'm a member of POSH in a lot of committees.
Okay.
So, I mean, it is just for the name's sake or paper's sake, or that also is not there. Most of the organizations
Yogita,
are not
what I
following.
feel, what I feel is that there needs to be a culture which is built on the principles of accountability, and a culture which has to be transparent, because sexual exploitation also works on the principle of power apart from gender. I would, on this note, would like to thank Geeta you, Fawzia Fatima, Mr. Ayyappa Prasad, and Yogita you, because in this special edition of News 9 Plus, we discussed the fallout of the real Kerala story.